The most dangerous myth about aging is not that the body weakens, but that it stops adapting. After 60, your cells are still listening, still responding, still learning from what you do each day. The human body does not suddenly shut down at a certain birthday. It follows signals: movement, rest, nourishment, attention. These are messages written into biology. When we stop sending clear signals, decline feels inevitable. When we send the right ones, strength quietly returns. One of the simplest signals is daily movement, not as punishment, but as conversation. Gentle walking, stretching, light resistance. These actions tell muscles to stay awake and bones to remain dense. Science shows that muscle tissue is remarkably responsive, even in later decades, growing stronger when it is invited, not forced. Motion also feeds the brain, increasing blood flow and preserving balance systems that protect independence. Stillness accelerates aging. Movement slows it, not dramatically, but faithfully, one day at a time. Another signal is how we eat, not in terms of strict rules, but timing and intention. As we age, cells become less efficient at repairing themselves, and they depend more on nutrients arriving in clear patterns. Protein supports muscle repair. Fiber nourishes the gut, and simple, whole foods reduce silent inflammation that drains energy. Eating slowly, with awareness, allows hormones to regulate appetite and blood sugar, protecting both strength and mental clarity. The body ages faster when it is confused. It stays resilient when it is supported. Aging is often misunderstood as a process where the body slowly loses its ability to change, but biology tells a very different story. Even after the age of 60, the human body remains highly adaptive. Every cell is constantly receiving information from its environment and responding to it. These signals come from daily actions: how a person moves, eats, sleeps, breathes, and even thinks. Aging does not switch off this communication system. It only makes it more sensitive to the quality of the signals being sent. When the signals are weak or absent, the body gradually downshifts its functions. When the signals are clear and consistent, the body adjusts, repairs, and preserves strength. At the cellular level, adaptation is a survival mechanism. Muscle cells respond to use by increasing protein synthesis. Bone cells respond to load by reinforcing structure. Brain cells respond to load by reinforcing structure. Brain cells respond to stimulation by strengthening neural connections. None of these processes have an expiration date. Research consistently shows that older adults can still gain muscle mass, improve balance, enhance cardiovascular efficiency, and sharpen cognitive function. The difference lies not in age itself, but in whether the body is given a reason to adapt. Without stimulation, cells conserve energy and reduce activity. With stimulation, they reorganize and improve efficiency. The idea that aging equals decline often becomes a self-fulfilling signal. When a person believes they are too old to improve, activity decreases, curiosity fades, and routines shrink. The body interprets this withdrawal as a message that strength and resilience are no longer required. In response, muscles weaken, coordination dulls, and energy drops. This is not failure. It is biological logic. The body is always trying to match its capacity to the demands placed upon it. Adaptation after 60 may be slower, but it is often more meaningful. Small changes create measurable biological responses. A daily walk improves insulin sensitivity. Gentle resistance preserves muscle fibers. Regular sleep stabilizes hormone release. These adjustments accumulate quietly, reinforcing independence over time. The body does not require extreme effort to adapt. It requires consistency. Repetition strengthens cellular memory, allowing systems to remain functional even as recovery time lengthens. Another important aspect of adaptation is recovery. Older bodies adapt best when stress and rest are balanced. Cells need time to repair after stimulation, but they still require the stimulation to trigger that repair. Avoiding effort altogether removes the signal to rebuild. Thoughtful effort, followed by adequate rest, tells the body that maintenance is still necessary. Understanding that adaptation continues after 60 changes how health is approached. It shifts the focus from fear to participation, from limitation to responsiveness. The body is not waiting for youth to return. It is waiting for direction. Every habit is a biological instruction, and every day offers a chance to reinforce the message that strength, awareness, and independence are still required. The idea that physical and mental decline is unavoidable with age is deeply rooted in culture, yet biology does not fully support this belief. What often appears as natural deterioration is frequently the result of signals that are no longer being sent to the body. Human physiology is designed to adjust itself to the demands placed upon it. When those demands slowly disappear, the body responds by reducing capacity, not because it is failing, but because it is conserving resources. Decline, in many cases, is not an unavoidable outcome of aging, but a logical response to reduced stimulation. Every system in the body operates on feedback. Muscles weaken when they are not asked to work. Bones lose density when they are not loaded. The cardiovascular system becomes less efficient when the heart is not challenged by regular movement. Even the brain reorganizes itself around patterns of use. When daily life becomes overly passive, the body interprets this as a signal that strength, endurance, and alertness are no longer necessary for survival. This response is efficient from a biological standpoint, but harmful when it becomes permanent. Modern lifestyles often amplify this problem. Convenience reduces movement, technology reduces physical effort, and fear of injury discourages challenge. Over time, these factors create an environment where the body receives fewer and fewer reasons to maintain its abilities. The result looks like age-related decline, but the root cause is often a gradual withdrawal from engagement. The body does not differentiate between intentional rest and long-term inactivity. It simply responds to what is repeated. Psychology also plays a powerful role in this process. When a person internalizes the belief that weakness is inevitable, behavior changes. Activity becomes cautious, then minimal. Social engagement decreases. Mental stimulation narrows. These choices send strong signals to the nervous system that adaptation is no longer required. The brain and body respond accordingly, reinforcing the very decline that was feared. This loop can progress quietly, unnoticed until independence feels threatened. Yet when signals are reintroduced, even later in life, the body often responds positively. Strength improves when muscles are used. Balance improves when movement challenges coordination. Energy improves when circulation is stimulated. These changes may occur more gradually than in youth, but they occur nonetheless. The key factor is not intensity, but presence. Regular, purposeful activity communicates ongoing relevance to the body's systems. The concept of inevitable decline removes responsibility from daily habits, but it also removes opportunity. When decline is seen as unavoidable, effort feels pointless. When it is seen as a response to missing signals, effort becomes meaningful again. The body is not programmed to fail with age. It is programmed to adapt to demand. When demand is restored, even modestly, biological systems often recalibrate in ways that support strength and independence. Understanding this reframes aging as a dynamic process rather than a passive one. The body is not surrendering to time. It is responding to instructions. Movement, attention, nourishment, and engagement are not small lifestyle choices. They are messages. When these messages fade, decline accelerates. When they return, the body listens and adjusts, often more than expected. Movement is one of the most direct ways the body understands its role in the world. It is not simply a mechanical act, but a form of communication between muscles, bones, nerves, and the brain. When movement is gentle and regular, it tells the body that it is still needed, still engaged, still preparing for daily life. This kind of activity does not exhaust the system. It organizes it. Walking, stretching, and light resistance send continuous signals that preserve strength, coordination, and confidence. Muscle tissue is designed to respond to use. When muscles contract, they trigger chemical pathways that promote repair and renewal. These signals stimulate the production of proteins that maintain muscle fibers and prevent wasting. Even in later years, muscles retain this ability. What changes with age is not responsiveness, but tolerance for excessive strain. Gentle, consistent movement respects this shift, while still delivering the message that muscles must remain active. The body does not require intensity to adapt, it requires repetition. Bones respond to movement in a similar way. Weight-bearing activity places small stresses on bone tissue, encouraging cells to maintain density and structure. Without this stimulus, bones gradually weaken, increasing the risk of fractures and loss of independence. Simple actions like standing, walking, and controlled strength exercises provide enough loading to signal the skeleton to stay resilient. This process unfolds slowly, but its effects are cumulative and protective. Movement also plays a crucial role in balance and coordination. The systems responsible for stability rely on frequent feedback from joints, muscles, and the inner ear. When movement becomes limited, these systems receive fewer signals and become less precise. Gentle challenges to balance help maintain neural pathways that prevent falls. This kind of movement is not about pushing limits. It is about maintaining communication between the brain and body. Circulation is another silent beneficiary of daily movement. Muscle contractions assist blood flow, helping deliver oxygen and nutrients to tissues while removing metabolic waste. This supports heart health and reduces fatigue. Regular movement also improves insulin sensitivity, helping regulate blood sugar and energy levels. These internal adjustments may not be immediately noticeable, but they shape long-term vitality. Perhaps most importantly, movement influences the mind. Physical activity stimulates areas of the brain involved in memory, mood, and focus. It reduces stress hormones and supports emotional stability. The act of moving through space reinforces a sense of agency and control, which is deeply connected to independence. When movement is treated as a conversation rather than a chore, it becomes sustainable. Stillness tells the body to conserve and reduce. Movement tells it to maintain and support. Over time, the body aligns itself with whichever message it hears most often. Daily movement does not need to be dramatic to be effective. It needs to be present, intentional, and kind. Through this steady dialogue, strength is preserved, balance is protected, and independence remains a lived experience rather than a distant memory. Muscle strength is often associated with youth, yet the biological capacity to build and preserve muscle does not disappear with age. Even in later decades, muscle tissue remains responsive to consistent use. What changes is the speed of adaptation, not the ability itself. When muscles are engaged through gentle, regular activity, they receive clear instructions to maintain structure and function. This process is driven by internal repair mechanisms that continue operating throughout life, waiting for signals to activate them. At the cellular level, muscle fibers respond to tension by initiating protein synthesis. This allows damaged fibers to rebuild and existing fibers to strengthen. Aging may slow this response slightly, but it does not eliminate it. Studies show that older adults who introduce light resistance training can increase muscle mass and strength, improving mobility and reducing the risk of falls. The key is not heavy strain, but consistent stimulation that respects recovery needs. Muscle loss in older age often results from disuse rather than aging itself. When daily routines become less physically demanding, muscles receive fewer signals to stay active. Over time, the body reallocates resources away from muscle tissue, assuming it is no longer essential. This reduction feels like aging, but it is actually a response to decreased demand. Reintroducing even modest physical challenges can reverse part of this process. Gentle resistance does more than preserve strength. It supports joint health and posture. Strong muscles stabilize joints, reducing pain and improving alignment. This stability allows for smoother, more confident movement, reinforcing independence. Without muscle support, joints bear more stress, leading to discomfort and further inactivity. Maintaining muscle strength breaks this cycle by making movement easier and more enjoyable. Muscle engagement also influences metabolism. Active muscle tissue helps regulate blood sugar by improving glucose uptake, reducing strain on the pancreas. It also increases resting metabolic rate, supporting energy balance. These metabolic effects contribute to sustained vitality, even when overall activity levels are modest. Strength in this sense, supports health far beyond movement alone. Equally important is the psychological impact of maintaining muscle strength. Feeling physically capable reinforces confidence and motivation. Small gains in strength often translate into greater willingness to engage in daily activities, from climbing stairs to carrying groceries. This sense of capability encourages further movement, creating a positive feedback loop between body and mind. Recovery plays a crucial role in this process. Older muscles require adequate rest to rebuild, but rest without stimulation leads to decline. Balanced effort, followed by sufficient recovery, sends the message that muscles are still needed and worth maintaining. Over time, these signals accumulate, allowing strength to persist and even grow. Muscle strength in later life is not about pushing limits or reclaiming youth. It is about sustaining function and dignity. Through gentle, consistent engagement, muscles continue to respond, adapt, and support independence, proving that strength remains a biological possibility at any age. As the body ages, the way it processes food changes, not because digestion fails, but because efficiency gradually declines. Cells become slightly less responsive, repair mechanisms slow, and inflammation becomes easier to trigger. In this environment, nutrition is no longer just fuel, it becomes instruction. Clear eating patterns help the body anticipate, absorb, and use nutrients more effectively, reducing internal stress and supporting long-term strength. When meals arrive at irregular times or consist of highly processed foods, the body receives mixed signals. Blood sugar rises and falls unpredictably. Hormones struggle to coordinate appetite, and energy becomes inconsistent. Over time, this metabolic confusion contributes to fatigue, muscle loss, and increased inflammation. Simple, structured eating patterns reduce this chaos by creating predictability, allowing the body's regulatory systems to work with less effort. Protein plays a particularly important role in later life. Muscles require a steady supply of amino acids for repair, and aging muscles need clearer signals to initiate this process. Spreading protein intake evenly across meals supports continuous muscle maintenance rather than overwhelming the system at once. This approach aligns with the body's natural rhythms and improves nutrient utilization. Fiber-rich foods support another crucial system, the gut. The digestive tract houses trillions of microorganisms that influence immunity, metabolism, and even mood. As aging alters gut composition, fiber becomes essential for maintaining balance. Regular intake of whole plant foods feeds beneficial bacteria, reduces inflammation, and improves nutrient absorption. A healthy gut quietly supports strength and resilience throughout the body. Eating patterns also affect inflammation, a silent contributor to aging-related decline. Chronic low-grade inflammation interferes with tissue repair, joint health, and cognitive function. Diets centered on whole foods, healthy fats, and natural antioxidants help calm this inflammatory background. The body functions best when it is not constantly managing internal irritation. Equally important is how food is consumed. Eating slowly and attentively allows digestive hormones to coordinate properly. This improves satiety signals, prevents overeating, and supports stable blood sugar levels. Mindful eating reduces digestive strain and reinforces the connection between nourishment and awareness. The body responds not only to what is eaten, but to how it is received. Hydration follows the same principle of clarity. Aging reduces thirst signals, increasing the risk of dehydration, which affects circulation, cognition, and muscle function. Regular, intentional hydration supports cellular processes and helps nutrients move efficiently through the body. Nutrition in later life is not about restriction or rigid rules. It is about creating an environment where the body can repair itself with minimal resistance. Clear patterns, simple foods, and attentive eating send the message that maintenance is still important. When nourishment becomes consistent and supportive, the body responds with steadier energy, reduced inflammation, and preserved strength, reinforcing independence through everyday choices. Eating is often treated as a background activity, something done quickly or without thought, yet the body experiences every meal as a complex hormonal event. In later life, this process becomes more sensitive. Eating with intention and awareness helps restore balance to systems that regulate energy, blood sugar, and appetite. When attention is present, the body receives clear cues about when to release digestive enzymes, insulin, and satiety hormones, allowing nourishment to be processed efficiently rather than stored or wasted. As people age, insulin sensitivity often decreases, making blood sugar regulation more fragile. Rapid eating and distracted meals can overwhelm this system, causing sharp spikes and drops in glucose levels. These fluctuations contribute to fatigue, brain fog, and long-term metabolic strain. Slowing down allows glucose to enter the bloodstream at a steadier pace, reducing stress on the pancreas and supporting sustained energy. This simple shift transforms eating from a potential stressor into a stabilizing ritual. Hormones that signal fullness also depend on timing and awareness. When meals are rushed, the brain often receives the message of satiety too late, leading to overeating. Over time, this disrupts appetite regulation and contributes to weight gain or digestive discomfort. Eating slowly gives these signals time to travel, restoring trust between the gut and the brain. This cooperation helps maintain a healthy body composition without force or restriction. Attention during meals also improves digestion itself. The act of focusing on food activates the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest state. In this mode, blood flow is directed toward the digestive organs, enzymes are released more effectively, and nutrient absorption improves. Eating in a stressed or distracted state diverts resources away from digestion, leaving food poorly processed and increasing inflammation. Mindful eating also strengthens emotional regulation. Many eating habits are shaped by stress, boredom, or habit rather than hunger. Awareness creates space to recognize these patterns without judgment. This reduces emotional eating and supports a more respectful relationship with food. For seniors, this can be especially important as emotional well-being directly influences physical health. The rhythm of eating matters as much as the content. Consistent meal times help align internal clocks that regulate metabolism and hormone release. This synchronization supports stable energy levels and better sleep quality. Irregular eating patterns confuse these systems, increasing fatigue and metabolic inefficiency. Even sensory awareness plays a role. Smell, taste, and texture stimulate neural pathways that enhance satisfaction and reduce the desire for excess. Enjoyment becomes part of nourishment, reinforcing the body's natural ability to self-regulate. Eating with intention is not about control or perfection. It is about partnership with the body. When meals are approached with calm attention, the body responds with hormonal balance, improved energy, and greater digestive ease. Through this simple practice, nourishment becomes a daily act of support rather than a source of strain, quietly sustaining health and independence over time.